Good evening, everyone. You're listening to the PNE Flagship. We might as well call it Part 2, part of the TalkSport Network and sponsored by Trade Windows. Preston, Darren, we recorded before the Hull game and we thought, we've never done this where we've recorded before a game. But what we did, we thought, nothing will happen. It'll be a quiet one. And what happens? Probably the most dramatic evening in the season. Now, I did a match review and reaction podcast last night, which is available on the Spotify and Apple feeds. Darren, the most downloads the podcast has had in a 24-hour period. So maybe I can't be too mad at our Montenegrin nutter. But look, as a lot of people have already heard my opinions, so I want to get your takes on a lot of these things. We'll start with it. Before we go into Osmajic, we'll start with the overall. What are your overall riding thoughts on the performance last night in the 3-0 loss to Hull?
Overall, the performance was shocking. I think that we had every good intention of actually, going into that game, obviously needing the win. I think obviously the players knew how important this game was last night. And from the moment we started, I thought, we're just not hitting right. We're just not getting anywhere. And I turned to my dad, who I sit with, and I'm just like, you know what? I was confident about this game. And this was about 10 minutes in. I was like, I just don't feel confident at all. I don't feel confident today. And then, I was right. And, God only knows what was actually coming later in that game, which we will go into detail about. But yeah, I just wasn't confident at all about the 10-minute mark.
I heard a lot of people saying we were awful all half. I thought we had probably not the better of it, but it was a really even game. I didn't think either side looked great. They passed it better than we did, but it just all seemed to escalate, didn't it, from the counter-attack to that corner. I want to rewind to the start of it. The changes. Now, I've heard an argument today online. He keeps making too many changes. We made, I think, 4 changes last night. Do you think I've had a lot thrown at me saying, why does he not pick the best team? Why is he overthinking it? What do you make of that? Because I wanted Paul and Small to start, so I'm not going to go in on the changes personally. The Dobbin one for me, though, you're leaving arguably your most effective attacking player out the starting lineup of what we labelled your biggest game so far this season.
No, yeah, I think you're right there. But what I always think about is going to any football game. I'm sure this is the same for any manager, any team, any fans, that you start the game with your best 11 to go out and win a game. And it feels like every single... I know that obviously players have to come in, you get injuries, and it's not always you're going to have your best starting 11 fit and available. And that's fair enough. That's football at the end of the day. But when we've got like the likes of Dobbin, we're obviously, and Divine fit, we're leaving Dobbin on the bench. We're starting with Divine, and sometimes we'll start with Divine, we'll leave, other way around, and it's just frustrating when you're seeing that we've got the quality in the squad. Let's go out and let's put our best team out as well. And yes, he's probably thinking, we have to play this way tactically because this is the way the Hull sets up, and it'd be very good to obviously counter their players that they've got. And yeah, I think every manager's, the only thing I will defend obviously that part of obviously Paul Heckinbottom's style is that every manager's got their own tactics and having to, look at how other teams shape up. So we can't say, he should be playing his best players all the time, because you've got to, getting each individual player in the right place to obviously counter the opposition. So I can't be too critical on that, but it is a bit frustrating as well when that you want your best players to be starting 11.
I think the tactics last night were as simple as, can't play football on this pitch. We'll start Smith up front. And it's like, if I'm Jebison, like, hold on a sec, right? I'm on 5 league goals this season, okay? You've got Smith up top, okay? And you're starting with the guy that we're going to get into in a second. Jebison was scoring whilst Osmajic was on his ban, okay? He turned himself. At the first month of the season, people were a bit like, not sure about this guy. Now, he's a fan favourite. And he's done that himself. So if I'm him, I'm thinking, I've done well while he's been away. And now I'm sitting, am I technically third choice? So,
but on that as well, what is Paul Heckinbottom and the Stuart McCall and backroom staff seeing, especially Jason Newell, the striker coach as well? What is he seeing in Smith that he isn't seeing in Jebison? Because for Smith to start the game and Jebison to be left on the bench, I think that there's something going on there. You know what I mean? It's just you're not telling me that Daniel Jefferson is a worse striker overall than Michael Smith.
Mm. I think I always thought this with like when we have the 3 games in a week, he overthinks the lineups. I can't ever remember back in the day. I don't know. I'm thinking of Alex Neil. There's always been 3 championship games in a week throughout the season. And I can't ever remember a time where for the second game, the midweek game, there's so many changes that he did it. Remember, we got beat to West Brom, okay? And he made loads of changes. I think, was it Birmingham at home, the Tuesday night game? And we was like, why is Dobbin and Devine on the bench? The whole tired mind thing, I'm sure it came about that time. But look, I don't think we need to go in too much on the game. People are probably here for us to talk about Osmajic. I've given my thoughts. I went in strong on him last night. I've had a few more thoughts today, which we will get into, but I think it's important that we let you say your piece. So what are your overriding thoughts on the incident last night and the reaction after?
We'll try not to get cancelled, Dan, already. Right. So first of all, utterly embarrassing. Absolutely, utterly embarrassing. I think I mentioned to you as well, and people sat around with that lad's got more, bans than goals this season. He's an absolute liability, and we cannot simply defend him. When this thing happened with the, before it was obviously come out the FA decision, the alleged racial abuse, we all backed him. We all said, wait for the verdict. We're behind you, Millie. We'll support you no matter what. We're a family club. We'll always support the players and everything like that. We'll do whatever you want. What we need to do to support you, to make you feel like you've done nothing wrong. And obviously when it came out as well, and obviously other fan bases are chirping in saying, oh, you can't defend that, has been proven, guilty, the basis of probabilities, all that stuff as well. And then he goes and repays all of our hard work, and it was hard work, making banners for him. We made the Town and Titan banner, and we put it up on our, our terraces and stuff.
On the Invincibles.
On the Invincibles as well, yeah. And we do that for him. We show support. Everybody cheers like really louder than anybody else when his name gets read out in the team sheets. If you notice as well, he always gets the loudest cheer. We're always behind him, and this is the way that he repays us as well. There's a thing called lose. You can lose your head, and then there's reacting utterly stupid. That other players are going to get at him because they know what type of player he is. So these FA workshops he's been going to obviously mitigate anything like this ever happening again are obviously not working. Now, we cannot defend that at this club. We pride ourselves, and we do pride ourselves on being a family club. And the club have even come out themselves saying that, being the gentry and all, being the best, as what it comes with, being the best fans, right? And then some of those best fans that we call ourselves gentry with are going on about defending Millie, singing his name when he's just headbutted a player, clear as day, in front of the referee, and people still standing by him. We simply cannot defend that anymore. And if I was the owner of the club, or if I was Peter Risdale, I'll be getting him in, obviously today, first thing in the morning, and I'll be saying, we cannot simply defend you. You're a loose cannon. You brought the club into massive disrepute because everything, all Twitter, X, all Facebook, everything was about Milutin Osmajic. Sky News, Sky Sports, every single championship podcast was talking about it. Even like a couple of the, people on TalkSport were talking about it as well. They brought it up on their radio show and their podcast as well. I think it's utterly embarrassing. It brings the club into further disrepute from what he's done before for the racial abuse of Hannibal, being found obviously guilty with that through the FA, make that as you will. But obviously they come to a decision there. And we cannot defend him anymore. We can't have people like that at this club. So we need to terminate his contract. And people saying that we're going to sell him, but no one will want him. People are saying, oh, yeah, well, abroad will have him, or Turkey, I think I've heard a couple of people say. And another rumour is that someone wants to buy him for £9 million. I mean, for £9 million, I'll drive him anywhere in the world for £9 million right now. I really would. Really, really would. And I was really, really I was more embarrassed for him, and then the anger set in after when I got home as well. Because I got home, got changed and everything, got into bed, and I just thought, you know what, I'm in work tomorrow, and obviously coming back today, recording this with you, and then I was just in a foul mood, not because of what happened during the game, and obviously the ugly scenes after, which we will get onto again, but more for him because how he's just repaid us, the fans, and done this, and. If you're defending him, I just think, you need to give your head a wobble. Where does your, morals lie as a human being now, defending somebody who has bitten somebody? Right, okay, we thought, you know what, it's a derby game. Oh, well, let's just see what he's like. He's served his ban. Goes on to racially abuse Hannibal. Okay, but, it's a bit on, threads now with him, and then headbutts somebody, clear as day. Just after he's come back from a ban, fresh, really, about 3 or 4 games after as well.
3 weeks.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. It's utterly embarrassing. And you know me, I'm always wearing the Preston t-shirts, and then it's the way around.
I've rocked up with one tonight,
and I've gone to work today. Not even in my North End hoodie. You know what I mean? I've gone with a complete different coat on, and I'm usually Mr. Preston. Everyone knows me as, and I'm embarrassed. For the first time in a long time, I don't know where the direction of this football club is going to. And I think we will obviously come on to that as well, regarding the club and the transfers. But keeping on the Osmajic thing, just to wrap this up now, obviously, because I waffled on a bit too long about Osmajic, and I don't really want to be perfectly honest.
Hey, no. Keep it coming. I believe the kids call it cinema.
Well, I'll keep on going then. But I just feel like we need to now come together as a club, and we all need to voice our opinions. You can't defend that anymore. You know what I mean? We cannot defend that anymore because but knowing our club, what will just happen is it'd be like, oh yes, well we've fined Osmajic. Oh, he's got his ban because he'll get his obviously banned for his red card. Fair enough. His 3 match ban, and then a big hefty fine from the FA. Fair enough. They'll just write that off with the money we don't have, and they'll just hand that to obviously the FA, EFL. And then they'll come back 3 games later, and then like nothing have happened. And then people in the town end will be singing his name, or striker from Montenegro. And I just feel
he's magic.
Yeah, Well, he needs to magic himself. Like he needs to become like Mysterio off, from Marvel, where he just can, time reverse everything and make things all better. Because this is all out now, isn't it? The biting.
If we're bringing Marvel into it. I'm going to cut it short. Bloody Marvel. Do you know what? I was about to say, Darren, you look like a man who needs some good news.
Go on.
Do you want me to give you some good news?
I need it. I do need it.
About 5 minutes ago, I thought I can't interrupt him because he's on a roll here. There's been 2 goals in tonight's games.
Oh, go on.
Stoke 1, Middlesbrough 2. And are you ready for it?
Oh, please,
Watford 0, Portsmouth 1. Oh, Watford have just scored. I swear to God.
Oh, man.
Look, it's that recent. There's not even a goal scored. Mate, I tell you what, when the gods align. Sorry, Darren, I tried to give you some good news then.
Well, yeah.
I tried to give you some good news and just taking it away from you. But hey, so we're talking about Osmajic.
Yeah, we were, yeah.
I can't believe that just happened.
Oh, well, you should get a live reaction anyway.
No.
Yeah, and I just feel really sorry for him because obviously, even myself as well, I wanted him to, be.
You like him, don't you? You've always been a big.
I've always been a big
Osmajic.
advocate. Yeah, I have. Yeah, because I like his bullyish style, his brute force, and I just don't know now where the goals are going to come from now because. He didn't score enough goals for me to say, yeah, he's a top championship striker. But he had that aggression that with the goals, he could have been a top striker, a championship. If he upped his game and scored more goals, then yeah, he would have been worth that 9 million, 10 million pound mark that I think that everyone was saying that he's going to go for. But I can't see that. And now he's just ruined everything. He's put his whole footballing career, and he's only a young lad. He's put his whole footballing career now in complete disrepute.
Yeah.
And
this is what I want to say, Darren. So you've actually triggered something in my mind here. So a lot of people he's been getting a lot of abuse. I'm always wary when somebody gets piled on because I do know what it's like. Okay. And obviously, the way he's getting piled on is a lot more than a couple of little dweebs giving me abuse on Twitter. How you doing, lads? But so look, it's going to potentially mess up our season. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that's us. So you think about him, right? What is this going to do for him? He's got 18 months left to run on his contract, okay? He is 26 years old. His contract expires when he's 27, okay? 27 years old. This is going to be the peak of his power in terms of negotiation, okay? So next summer, if he lets his contract run down, he's in a real position of, I can get a big move here. I think we would have sold him in the summer so we got something for him, okay? He potentially, through his actions, has scuppered the biggest contract he's ever going to get in his career. He could have got a big move, and now, like we're saying, it might be Turkey, it might be somewhere else. No English club's going to touch him. He could have got a move to a top championship team, okay? And now he is just like... So what I want to say is this guy... I don't like the word mental health anyway, but does he need help? He's clearly got problems. And I don't know. I was trying to think how he must be feeling this morning. He's going to wake up this morning, go on his phone, and he's going to think, oh, I just got out of this period. This was my next fresh chance, okay, to reward all the people that have been behind me.
Yep.
And I've just completely messed. What must Milutin Osmajic be thinking this morning when he wakes up? Because, and another thing I want to say, the 9 months that he's just gone through of waiting to see what happens with this case, it's going to play with your mind, isn't it? And yeah, there is clearly someone who's a little bit, I don't know if unstable is the word, probably is.
He is.
He's probably been under a lot of stress this year. And is this a ticking time? Has it just been a ticking? Should we have seen this? I feel like we should have discussed this on the podcast and we haven't. What we need to do to stop this happening again, and we didn't. I don't think anyone did.
I think we should have seen it on the first incident about the biting Owen Beck. We should have seen it on that incident and gone, we've not had a player that has, done this and created this much. Because when he bit him, it was a big thing. People were making vampire banners of him, and stuff like that. And it was like, people going to Blackburn away wearing, Count Dracula.
I think I put a picture of him biting Owen Beck inside the framed picture of the Louvre or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that. And I'm laughing, but
I'm an enabler.
I'm enabling. I know. I'm laughing, and it's just not funny, Dan. Because
I enjoyed it.
No, it was at the time. Don't get me wrong; it was funny. Going on, we should have seen it from that instance. And
yeah, we should.
Something you mentioned before about the contract, which I want to go back to and touch on briefly before we move on. I want to mention as well that now I don't think the club are going to terminate his contract because I know for a fact that we won't be able to afford it because we'll have to pay him up front to terminate his contract and the rest of his time he's got left. And we simply don't have the money for that because what we're going to do, terminate his contract, let him go, a striker that we have, and then pay him off and then have no money to go out and get any more players. This is the thing. And then we'll say, oh, yeah, but we need loans. But again, we need to pay their wages, and I just...
Terminate his contract. We spoke about this before, right? The guy at the top of the club takes his own carrier bags to the supermarket. He's got a potential £2 million asset in his back pocket. He ain't terminating him and losing that money for nothing. Absolutely no chance.
No, and this is the thing. But if the club had any self-respect, I think I put a post on my Instagram as well. I said that if the club had any self-respect for himself and any, stature of like the club that they pride themselves to be, they would terminate his contract. But I know for a fact our owner will not do that. I know for a fact they won't do that. And, I'm obviously a part of obviously the, like I mentioned before about being a part of the club, being a fan network association as well. So
you might not be after this.
No, but I was actually going to mention actually that I actually would. I would love to voice my opinions very, very, very strongly, which I probably will end up doing on this podcast. And I would happily, if it gets to the point where people start protesting against the club, against the owners, as much as I've obviously strived for and people ask people to vote for me for that part there, I would walk away from that for the greater good for this football club. That's how strongly I think about everything in this football club as well. I want us to succeed. And I really don't know what's happening now, because this could be the turning point for our season now. Because that derby game, this whole game, and the fixtures that we've got, every single fan poured the heart into this season, how well we started, turning up home and away, really good away to attendances. And, just for the team performance, yes, as a whole, just wasn't good enough. But we have to, you can't say, we have to, we could only put the blame on Osmajic. It's a team game. No, he's brought, this bad press around Preston. And it's not just going to affect Osmajic. It comes onto the club and it filters down through to the players.
I know, you think of all the good PR work that was over the summer. Was it I know we spoke about in the WhatsApp group, but like the Liverpool game, 100%. The sponsors, obviously, that brought the notoriety of the club, I believe is the correct terminology. But this is going to overshadow it all, isn't it? Really? I mean, today, I woke up this morning. I just put a video of it on Twitter. And look, I've got almost 1 million views on the video. I've got notifications. I've got all the Burnley fans coming after me. I've got Blackburn fans coming after me. I'm like, oh God, stay away from Twitter today, Daniel. But it's just frustrating, is it? Because I tell you what, Darren, he would have been perfect for Middlesbrough and Ipswich away. Osmajic isn't suited to playing the teams that have I hate the word low block, that sit deep, yeah? He ain't suited behind that. He wants to run in behind. You've got Middlesbrough and Ipswich that are going to come onto you. We'd have Dobby and Osmajic breaking. Osmajic could have been key playing on that last man, and instead. But the summit that someone said before, and it just made me think. I'm not saying this is my opinion. I'm just putting it out there. Okay, so do you remember when Jermaine Beckford got hat-trick at Wembley and he got 2 red cards and everybody turned on him?
Yeah.
Now, I just a bit wet. I'm not saying we should. Do you not think that maybe we should still continue to stand with Osmajic or not?
No, it's different, completely different.
Yeah,
completely different. Okay, yeah, someone disciplining record. Yeah, okay, because you can say that. Well, Jermaine Beckford got red cards. Yes, okay, but did Jermaine Beckford ever bite? Yeah, did 5-star Beckford ever bite a player? Did 5-star Beckford ever actually abuse another player? Did 5-star Beckford headbutt, another player?
Yeah. He headbutted one of his own players.
Well, it was a scuffle, wasn't it? Fair enough. It was a scuffle on the pitch, wasn't it?
He got an hat-trick at Wembley. He can headbutt me if he wants to. How
about that? But the thing is that what he's done is create a legacy that Preston North End fans will remember forever. That day at Wembley, getting back up to the Championship. You can't get any better than that.
Yeah, I agree.
Osmajic now, every time we're going to bring his name up, Owen Beck, Hannibal, headbutt.
My granddad asked me this before, and it got me thinking. I was already thinking about it before. What do you think if he was in training today? What do you think the reaction was from the other players?
Do you know what? What I'd like to think to happen, and probably what would have happened, is probably 2 different things. Now, what I think like to have happened,
Beckford and Doyle style.
Yeah, what I'd like to think have happened was the players going too far, Millie, too far. I don't think he would have been training with the first team today. If I was Paul Heckinbottom, I would have said, look, you're going nowhere near that first team. You're not in training today. You're going to go into a meeting with Peter Risdale and the owner today, and you're sitting down, and we're going to discuss what's happened and what our next step's going to be. That's what I've liked to happen. And what's probably have happened is he would have come in, everyone would have given him a pat on the back. They would have, given him an extra coffee at lunchtime and everything as well. They're going, oh, you okay, Millie? Everything's going to be all right. And that's probably what would have happened, because, the players these days are wet. Can you imagine this happening in Roy Keane's era? You know what I mean? He would have strung him up in that dressing room, Roy Keane, if he was playing for United back in the day, and he would have absolutely wiped the floor with him. Never mind that, Gregan, or something like that as well.
Roy Keane can't say much, can he? He nearly snapped all in half.
I know, yeah, but it's just like, we don't have that, that level of authority in our dressing room that people are just going to go, do you know what, Millie? I'm absolutely raging with you. You know what I mean? Don't you ever do anything like that again. And absolutely put the fear of God in him. But do you know what? This day and age now, it's going to be like, especially with Preston, you know what they're going to be like? It's going to be like, we stand by you, Millie. We support you. That's probably what's happened today. That's probably what's happened.
Get a story on him. I hear he... don't mind a confrontation. But yeah, look, I think we've touched on a lot. I asked if there was anything that you wanted to
Yeah,
touch on. Now, I want to touch on one thing before we
go
transition
on.
into your thing, and that is because you asked me about Paul Heckinbottom's press conference, and I put this in our group chat before. So I was listening to Paul Heckinbottom's interview, and he said that but the whole players they were at Osmajic all game. They were in his ear constantly. And I'm thinking, all right, so you know that they was in his ear constantly. You know he's a loose cannon. We're 3-0 down with two of our biggest games of the season left. Did it not enter your head to think, you know what? I'm going to do a bit of smart management here. I'm going to take him out the firing line and I'm going to get him off the pitch. Now, I know people will reply saying, shouldn't have to do that. And I completely agree. However, we know what Osmajic is like, as shown. Should Paul Heckinbottom, if he was seeing this going on, have subbed him off?
100% agree with you. I can't disagree with you, Dan. I think you're completely right there. Completely right.
Yeah. But you said that Heckinbottom looked like a broken man in his press conference.
He did. He looked like he just like could not physically believe what had happened. You could see it in his eyes. You know, you can tell a lot by a person's eyes as well. And looking at him in that press conference, he looked tired, obviously, because he's probably had, a lot to deal with, especially there being a night game as well. Fair enough.
He ain't as tired as me flipping editing that podcast till 2 a.m. this morning, getting up window cleaning. Trust me, flipping. As soon as that happened, Darren, I thought, oh, God, I'm going to have to flip in. You know what? I had to make sure, because I knew we'd get so many downloads. I thought, everything's going to have to be prim and proper tonight.
But he probably was, probably was more tired than me, though, having to come back all the way, from that game back home and then up at 5 o'clock in the morning for work doing a 13-hour shift. But you know what I mean? Fair play. But again, he just looks like a broken man. And he looks like the type of guy that's been told, Paul, you have to do the best with what you've got because there isn't anything coming.
I know. Do you fear losing a man with 33% winning record in his current period in charge? And do you fear that we might lose him?
Do you know, when you put that stat up as well, it really surprised me.
I couldn't believe that.
And I couldn't believe it myself. And to be where we are with that record, it just goes to show how bad the other teams in this league are doing.
I know.
And if I don't laugh, I cry. I really would, because 33%, and people go on all the time about, oh, well, Paul Heckinbottom's a better manager than Ryan Lowe was at Preston North End, but again, stats don't lie.
It's mad, isn't it? I was more surprised. So when I had a look at it, I think Alex Neil and Ryan Lowe were on 38% win record. It was something like that. And Heckinbottom on 30. Honestly, I'm not doing a bit. I was quite surprised. I feel like we've won quite a few games over the last few months, but it's almost like we finished 20th last season, isn't it? I know a lot of people have forgotten about that, but you've got
tired minds.
Tired minds. I'm not tired. I've got the traitors to catch up on. We're head to head with the traitors here. The fact I'm missing the traitors and you as well, seeing I've got you on it to record this, you are welcome. You said here, you thought the club needs serious change. Mm-hmm. Does that come in Callum Lang, or is that something?
No, well, I think it comes in many forms. Players for the short term, yes. But long-term and longevity for Preston North End Football Club. And again, this probably goes against, the things that I signed up for with obviously the Fan Association Network. But I think that the ownership of the club needs to come into disrepute. I think that, we are in a position now where the fans need to voice their opinion, not online, but towards the club. I'm not here today to say, right, everybody follow me. I'm going to be the, Che Guevara. I'm going to start a revolution and everyone's got to follow me into standing outside Exton with picket fences and signs saying, this and that. But I feel like we need to do something similar to what, say, Blackburn Rovers should be doing to get the Venkies out. Because, what I'm trying to say is I think that, we can do something productive together as a fan base to try and voice our opinions. And yes, people say, oh, well, and what I've been told as well, and what really annoys me, what really grinds my gears as well, is people saying, well, you put your money in, you put your millions of pounds in. No, but you don't understand, right? Because that is the most irritating thing ever. If I had millions and millions and millions of pounds, right? Number one, right, I probably wouldn't be sitting at Friday night on the town end, freezing freezing to death. I nearly said something then, but freezing to death, right? Watching that on that pitch, right, which is another thing we need to address as well. I would be probably back in Lanzarote again, right, for another 2 or 3 weeks, or even somewhere better, you know what I mean, than Lanzarote, to be perfectly honest. You can't say, "Oh, why don't you put your money in?" People, it's a working man sport. You know, every single person. There was probably not 1 millionaire fan in that ground tonight, right? And if there was, yeah, fair enough. But
with carrier bags,
the average Joe, they was carrier bags, with his B&M carrier bag. Other stores are available, by the way.
Errand Foods, more likely.
And anyway, it's just, we need to come together as a club and do something productive to try and get change, because we are stagnant and it stinks. It absolutely reeks the place out. And change needs to happen, because I am worried about what is going to happen to Preston North End in the next 10, 15 years. I know I'm thinking long term here, but again...
you're the only one.
Someone said something to me the other day, and it was really sat with me as well. On our doorstep, Preston North End have Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, that's not far, and Everton, that's not far, right? And an hour on the train, you can get to Birmingham, and you can probably watch Aston Villa play football as well.
Quick train.
Well, I was Birmingham, hour and a bit. What would you say?
I suppose.
Yeah. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, Dan, that...
Sorry.
No, it's all right. It's been a long day. The point I'm trying to make is, why would you support Preston North End when you can go and watch Manchester United and Manchester City?
Because it's who we are.
It's who we are. I know. But for the next generation, Dan, I'm just worried about people coming to watch that tonight. Say if it was the first game tonight, and they watch that game, and they turn to the dad or the mum, whoever's brought them on, and they go, "I don't want to come anymore. I thought you said Preston fans were the best, and do the gentry and the team play to they're a family club. I've just seen somebody offer somebody out going down the tunnel. I've just seen one of our players headbutt somebody. I've just seen our pitch, the pitch that they play on our back garden. Mum and dad looks better than that. I honestly." It's mind blowing, and
I'm picturing a dad saying to his son, "Well, you know what, son, you're gonna have to man up and deal with it, you soft little bastard, because this is what supporting North End's like."
That's what I got told. Well, but it's just, but people are not like that nowadays, are they? With this internet generation, and and it's someone said in the group the other day, they posted a picture from like 20 years ago, and it was like not a Man United or City shirt inside. It was loads of people at the park with Preston North End t-shirts on. Go back to that same park and then get a load of people together and look at the amount of Preston North End shirts that are probably there on that football pitch. You can probably count how many there is, probably on one hand. I'm Preston through and through. I'm proud to support Preston. I love wearing the badge. Even though I'm not a football player, I'm a really passionate supporter of this football club. Last night, it made me physically sick, to the point where I was like, you know what? Why do I put my money in to go and watch that football club? Why do I do it? Because I will continue to do it, because like I said, I'm Preston through and through. But if I was a person who wasn't that into Preston North End, but I supported them, but I wasn't passionate, I wouldn't go. I would not go. And this is the things now that the club's going to have to address. Not just the fans that are annoyed about the position that we're in now with Osmajic, with the backroom staff's horrendous behaviour, and the club not putting any money into the club to actually try and strive for better things and greatness and go up to the Premier League. They've got to think about the people who just don't want to turn up. Honestly, I just feel like, people say be careful what you wish for as well, and it's just like, well, we've got to try. Because
what did you make of the Peter Murphy thing?
Embarrassing. If you're going to act all hard and offer somebody out, don't do it in front of everybody. Because he did it, like, he walked off for a bit, turned around and went, signalling to tell him to come down a tunnel and stuff like that. I'll wait for you down a tunnel and that. Utterly embarrassing. And then for the end of the game was the fastest I've seen Peter Ridsdale run, right? Because he came down from obviously his box there, all the way around, back up to the thingy. And I saw him and I was like, I've never seen him move as fast in all my life as to try and get down that tunnel and see what's going on. what I would have loved him to have done was gone into a dressing room and gone, right, Millie, come back to you two here. That you and Millie, training ground, first thing in my office, first thing in the morning. You know what I mean? You're suspended, and then you're going to get your contract terminated as well if you had any balls. But again, there's no money to do stuff like that at the Preston North End Football Club. And you know what? We're going to continue to do this. And I know what comments they're going to get. I'm going to get on Facebook because a lot of comments in the previous video that I got as well, which really, really annoyed me as well. I was reading them at work on my break and stuff. And it was saying, well, we don't have any money to do this. But you know what? Go and sell the club then. If you cannot physically put money into a football club, you shouldn't be owning one. If you feel like you have to because fans, you're putting the bare minimum in, and it's just the bare minimum isn't going to work in today's society. We know what football is like in the modern age of football. You could say, well, yes, we did it in 2005, and we got to the playoff final then. We nearly did that then.
Good times.
Good times, yeah, very good times, but very sad. Sad time in that final. Don't remind me of that. I'll try and move on with that.
My birthday that day, flipping heck.
Oh god,
I know.
Sorry, Dan. But anyway, 2005.
I don't celebrate it anymore.
The closest we've been to the Premier League.
Think about it, every day I wake up, every birthday morning I wake up, and I've got on this day 14 years ago. And I see Bobby Zamora's face slamming it in. I'm like, cheers! I don't want to celebrate my birthday this year.
And that's what we've got to think of down this, because the club and the direction of the club, I feel like now is the call to arms for people to not voice their opinions at each other and get at each other as Preston fans, and then getting in each other's comments on Facebook and on X and on Instagram. Let's all focus our attention on this football club now. Okay, and people will say, well, yes, we're in the best position we've been now. We're sixth in the league or seventh in the league currently now as it stands with games being played. But we need change. We desperately need change, and I don't know whether that comes from getting players in, getting new owners to get more money to get the better players in, mending the pitch so the players play better. If you could really say that as well, that's a really...
Hull managed to play well on that pitch last night. Darren, what would you say? I know what fans are going to be thinking listening to you say that, and I want to know what you have to say to these fans. I don't want to shit stir, but I'm going to shit stir. Mm-hmm. So, full time at Watford. Watford 1, Portsmouth 1. Stoke 2-1 down with 10 men. So, at the close of play tonight, we are sat 6th in the league, a position we would have bit your hands off at the start of the season for. You're saying you want protest. You're saying you want action.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people who are currently sat there going, what is this guy on about? We're 6th.
No, because they need to get their heads a wobble. Because it's the same stuff, same story every single season. And it's becoming ridiculous now. People saying as well in the comments, we've got loads of time left for transfer deadline day. But there's loads of time. There's not loads of time left. I don't think people realise.
Even that critch.
I don't think people realise how much that is in getting players to speak to agents, to speak to the clubs, to coming back to the agents, to speaking to the club that's made the offer. It takes a long time. We are not going to get 3 players in. We're not. And I just feel like you can say all you want. You can say, what's this lad on about? Do you know what? I'll go into exile. I'm not bothered. I'll just watch from afar. And just because I've honestly, Dan, I've just had enough. I really have.
Can we still do the podcast though?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorted. I just feel like now is the time where people need to stop voicing their opinions at each other, come together as the fans, and then ask for change, because it's not going to start by voicing our opinions at each other in comment sections on Facebook at all. It's not going to happen. Because guess what? The club doesn't listen. The club doesn't read Facebook comments and go, oh, wow, Charles from, Fullwood doesn't like the way that we are
sounds a knobhead.
We have to change now. And then he sells the club to get, no, that's not how it works. We need to come together and we need to do something. I don't know what that is and how that works and the logistics of it. But again, we won't do it because people are just not bothered. The poor guy, one of the guys that is on the fan networks, the guy who runs all the flags and the PNE flags online. He's part of the fan network as well. And he takes time off work to come out and put flags in seats.
Who is this? Who is it?
I think it's John. Do you know what? I feel really awful because I completely forgot his name. I feel really, really awful.
No,
anyway,
I just thought I should have prepped you. I just thought I'd give him a shout out.
I'm really sorry.
He puts all the flags in the seats.
He puts all the flags in the seats with a bit of help as well. But he takes time off work to do it as well. And no one waves them. About 5 people wave them. He puts like about 100 flags out, and people just take the mick.
Are these what are in the bins on the town?
Yes.
I used to see all them, and if they were always full, and I'd be like, what?
Well, sometimes he puts them in the seats for people not to like. They're in the seats. They got to wave them. They just leave them on the floor.
Yeah. Do you remember how good it looked, that opening game?
Yeah, it did.
I think we're like Lowell's first full season, the first home game. I remember thinking, this looks quality, this.
It did.
And then it just, as that season went on, people just... Yeah. I was talking to someone before and they were saying, I'm sick. I won't say who it was, but they were like, I am sick of going. I can't wait for Middlesbrough on Saturday. I'm just glad to watch a football game that's not in that stadium because it is miserable experience.
It is. Without waffling on too much as well, even where I sit as well, there's people arguing with each other. You got one man shouting, shoot, forward, and having a goal. And then the guy behind me shouting at him saying, oh, why is he going to shoot for? We've got our own fans arguing with each other. Honestly, someone put in the group the other day, I don't like the word, but I'm going to say it, this club is actually tin pot. And I actually agree with it as well, because our own fans are arguing with each other about whether or not our midfielder should shoot on goal or not. And I'm just got this in my hands and my head, and I'm thinking, what has this come to now? I just don't know what it's come to. And I feel like I know I keep on sounding like a broken record, but change needs to happen, because I feel really strongly about where Preston North End in the future is going to go for with us as a football club, because I just feel so strongly for it because I'm just so passionate about it, and I want this football club to do so well. I really do. You know what I mean? It's ingrained from me as well. My family and everything as well, passed down and everything like that. I just feel like the youth is just not going to watch it, not going to want to even just get involved with Preston North End. And I just feel like deflated, embarrassed of what's happened, and change just needs to happen, because we can't.
It's been a weird episode, this. I'm not feeling too despondent. I don't know. I think it's because because I still look and see us sixth.
Yeah,
and I was saying this to someone before, Darren, that usually, say if we go on a bad run, if we go on a bad run, we'd usually then find ourselves in 11th or 10th, looking up, thinking, oh, God, we're 5-6 points off the playoffs. Yeah, hopefully our bad runs out of our systems. You never know, we might go to Middlesbrough. We're suited to playing these sort of teams. Get Small bombing down the wing. Get Smith playing on the last man, outpacing the centre-backs. Who knows? We might go and beat Middlesbrough. I'm only joking. But Jebison, I don't know. I've just got a sneaky feeling we might beat Middlesbrough on Saturday. I know you don't, but I've just got it. It's in my bones. I've dug out I've never worn a North End shirt on an episode. Never. And I thought, you know what? Times are tough. I'm getting stuck in here.
And I've never not worn a North End shirt on an episode.
It's all right. We'll be back on Saturday. I'll wear my Nirvana t-shirt and you can wear your North End shirt. Look, Darren, I appreciate you coming on. You've done a 13-hour day. I can tell. And I don't know. You took me a bit back there. I thought I'm normally the one who's a bit like, but yeah.
Yep.
I'll put this video out and I'll get, you're so negative on North End. I'm going to be like, what, me? It was Darren.
Yeah, blame me. Yeah, I'll be in the comments. I'll be in the comments. Don't worry about it.
Fucking it. Do you know what? Critch is going to be gutted when he won't watch it because he's not on it. But if Critch watched this, he'd be like, oh, I'd love to have been on that episode. He'd have been buzzing with it. But have you had your tea yet, Darren?
Yeah. It's the only thing. I just put a pizza in the oven before I come on. Well, I didn't. My wife made it for me like that as well. So when I got in, it was already there.
Margarita, cheese and
it was actually this like spicy chicken one. It was actually quite nice.
Spicy chicken. Yeah. So, lad I know, Blackie, runs the fanzine. Yeah. He asked me this the other day, so I'm going to ask you. We'll wrap up with this question. A big question going on at the moment. Well, in mine and Blackie's conversations. Does pineapple belong on pizza? Hey?
No, not at all. Not at all, no.
Oh, well, you're on Blackie's side then. You can't beat ham and pineapple. Right. Look, I'm going to let you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I was doing this time last night and probably spend an hour and a half editing and uploading this thing. I'll, be nice in the comments, people.
Please, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're not, it was Darren, not me. Right, we'll be back. We'll be back on Saturday for more positivity after we've just beaten Middlesbrough.
See you later.
Hashtag COYW. I tell you what, I bet Sean enjoyed that episode. When you were doing that Hemmings thing, I bet he stood up, applauded, and there you go. But anyway, speak to you all next week. Go on, let you have the final word, Darren. You deserve it after the effort you put in that episode.
We need change. That's all I'm going to say.
There you go.